Demon keeps dreaming of a demon town. Motherfucker, bitch, fuck, shit went down. Fleming's got an itch, scratch it with a bitch. Demon keeps dreaming of a demon town. Ooh, Johnson, that's my name.
Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, introducing you to my Shadows of the Damned Satanic Hell difficulty video walkthrough. This is the level 5-2, different perspectives. And you'll notice at the start there, I've trimmed out the whole cutscene and the whole going up to the door and opening it and shutting it bullshit, and I've gone straight to the fight. Excuse me. The reason I've done this is A, to make the video a little bit shorter, because this is a long level, and you know, the only thing worse than talking for 16 minutes to yourself is listening to yourself talk for 16 minutes, so the shorter the video, the better, pretty much. And this is a big fight. It is a big old slugfest with a lot of different enemies. This is one of the longest and most arduous fights in the game, but luckily enough, it's very simple. The first bunch of guys go down swiftly if you shoot them in the faces and then take out the rest of the guys around them. The second spawn is going to be the crazy acrobatic retard ones, so just get them to hit each other like that by baiting them and then rolling, and then finish them off one at a time. Nothing too special, nothing too difficult. And then once you've killed these guys, I believe it's going to be two of the electric shouldered giant dudes that I fought in the last video. We'll soon find out though once I've finished messing about with this silly bastard. There we go, that guy's down. The hand comes back. And goes all Mr. Shiny. Yeah, there they are, the electrode guys. So, once again, I have found a pretty interesting strategy against these guys that is not in this video. And it will save you a lot of ammo. Do you see those kind of crypt things that... Oh wow, he grabbed me. You'll notice I even fucked up a part of that quick time event, but it still didn't hurt me. So don't panic. Do you see that thing that I'm next to now that's got the CCTV camera on it? If you stick a load of hot boners on that, about 4 or 5 of the explosive orbs, then detonate them when they're in the radius, it will do some severe damage to them and save you a lot of ammo. You can also use the light boxes to do some extra damage if you want. But in this video I'm going to be using the teether and I'm going to be using the skull cushioner, which is a waste of ammo if I'm honest, but it will get the job done. It will definitely get the fucking job done, I assure you. I've blood, sweat and tears to prove it. It's just not the most elegant. And just keep shooting away, keep doing your thing, and I'm going to talk about some other stuff. The first thing I mentioned on the last video was that I've been playing other games, and I went on to tell you that Captain America is actually not too bad. It's actually inspired... I said actually like 3 times there, and then I've just said it again, confirming that I said it before, thus making me say it more. God, I hate speech sometimes. But it's made me put... See, I omitted it then. That was a conscious decision to do that. And the bastard grabbed me, look at him! Bloody kitty snatcher, get away from me. But it's made me put Thor on my rental list because I actually really like the film Thor and I will defend it to the bone. Don't get me wrong, the film is dumb. Don't get me wrong, it makes pretty much no sense and it's complete and utter filler, but at the same time, it's got that dude who played the dad in Star Trek. He spends half the film with his shirt off and he's got awesome abs, and the dude's a Viking. How can you not like Vikings? It's got Norse mythology, it's got a giant hammer, he's got a nice beard, it's everything. That's all we need, and I enjoy it, so I will defend it. And I want to play the game because I've heard that it's not too bad, but I've also heard it's got a really hardest difficulty, which could be kind of fun, playing a shit game on its hardest difficulty. I might even do a guide to it, like a mock guide of a bad game on its hardest difficulty. I don't know, but I want to play it because, like I said, Captain America's reinvigorated me on playing lesser quality games, so to speak. But I also got Dragon Age 2, and I love Mass Effect. I am a Mass Effect fanboy. I went to the midnight launch of Grand Theft Auto 4, came home with the game, and spent the rest of that night playing Mass Effect while GTA 4 sat on my side. That is how much I like Mass Effect. I'm not that interested in dragons and swords and all that kind of stuff. And the main reason is, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with it. I was completely obsessed with it. We once threw out a chest of drawers into our garden because we were going to put it in the local skip when we got time, something like that. I don't really know the reasons behind it. I was only about 6. But me and my friends dismantled this drawer and turned, you know, like the actual front of the drawers with the handles into shields, and broke off sword-shaped pieces of wood and had sword fights with drawers as shields, and like banged the shit out of each other until A, somebody started crying so we had to stop, or B, we got so many splinters in our hands from these, you know, crappy shelves that we started crying. And I was in love with the entire thing. I used to draw massive epic battlefields as I was a kid. I used to draw knights, I used to draw horses, I used to draw, you know, spears, swords, halberds, all intricate pieces of armor and all sorts of madness, chain link, chain mail. I drew it all. I used to love it. I used to watch, you know, Excalibur with Gabriel Byrne and everybody in it, and Helen Mirren and Carmen Baranas or Fortuna playing in the background as they like rode into battle wearing gold armor and people swinging from that tree. I used to love it. I was in love with it, but it seems to have a massively diminished return now as I've got older, because I don't seem to have the same, you know, the same lust for it like I used to, and I don't really have an interest in it. It's weird. It's kind of, I've fallen out of love with it. So I never went near the Dragon Age games. I also have two friends that say two completely different things about the game. One friend hates Dragon Age, the first game. The other friend really likes it. So I kind of avoided it because the combat looked a bit MMO-y for me, where you just kind of stand there and your character waggles his arm and there's a bunch of dice rolls that dictate whether you get hit, and it just wasn't really for me. At the same time, I respected it because I understand that BioWare make really good games and it's probably awesome if you get into it. The second one came out. Apparently they made the combat a lot more accessible and a lot more fun to do. They also changed a bunch of things and they made it easier, and a whole host of, you know, more refined tweaks that made it a little bit simpler, which isolated some of the original fans, but it garnished a whole bunch of new fans because they made it more, you know, more approachable to your average gamer type. So I put the second one on my rental list and I got it. And I started it. I don't like the combat at all. The combat is just mashy as hell and doesn't feel like it requires any skill whatsoever, which is something that I don't like. And everything else seems pretty cool. I've been walking around, is it Kirkwell, that first city, and like earning money and doing side quests and walking around, you know, castles and stuff and finding chests and opening chests. And I went on a side quest that took me outside the world, and I went into this dungeon to find this convict for somebody, and then a bunch of spiders spawned. I had no problem killing them, thought I was a badass, and then a venomous spider spawned and it killed my entire team, and I was running away from it in this dungeon for about 20 minutes until I hit a dead end, didn't know what to do, and it killed me. So I was just kind of like, okay, not really sure what I could have done differently or what exactly I did wrong. And it's one of those things where I'm an absolute novice at it, so I don't really understand it yet, but hopefully it's going to start getting a lot more enjoyable when I figure it out. I've been specking my characters and giving them attributes and stuff, but it's just kind of weird, and I picked a really fucking flimsy character. I should have probably picked the warrior, because I picked, is it the ranger or whatever, the dude who's got the double daggers, and he seems a bit flimsy so far. He's definitely not a tank character, to say the least. But so far it seems pretty interesting. It's kind of one of the most awkward games I've played in a while, because you're having really mundane conversations with people covered in blood, and they don't even seem to realise it. It's just like stood there. So had a good day then? And how's mum? Is mum good? And the kids? Yeah. And all the while he's dripping with somebody's blood. His face is just bukkaked. He's looking like a schoolgirl. It's ridiculous. And it's never really explained. And the blood itself doesn't look that good. It kind of just clings to him like bits of shit. It's just weird. Could have definitely improved that mechanic, but I do like what it represents, because the whole concept of being covered in blood after battle is pretty damn awesome in a game. In real life, you'd probably stink like a bunch of pennies, but that's not really the point. And yeah, this section's kind of weird as well in the game. It's a lot of tweaking these platforms to get it all to align so that you can get to the next section. I don't do it in the quickest route, but I do get there in the end, so do be patient and watch what I do. It should get you through. It's not too bad. But yeah, I'm enjoying Dragon Age 2. It's not really my kind of game. And at this moment in time, I'm not all that sure what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right. So until I figure it out, I'll probably just sound like a retard as far as it's concerned. Fable 3, I've managed to beat the game. I managed to do all those decisions, and I mean, that is the video game equivalent of Lego. There is no challenge in that game. It's so fucking pointless. And I'm at that point now where I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I'm running around the places buying, you know, as many properties as I can to work towards that achievement. There's a bunch of quests that I've got to do, but all the ones that are worth anything to unlock those chests on the road to rule are all, you know, are all keyed into finding collectibles. And at this moment in time, I've been watching far too much Castle, the show. I've watched like 3 seasons in a week, and I don't have, you know, don't have the setup to put up a video that shows me where all the collectibles are. So I'm kind of just running around and hoping to find them and not having much luck. One thing I will say though, if anybody's interested in, you know, giving me a baby online and marrying me, I am in need of that for the achievements. So, you know, first come first serve. Hopefully get that shit out of the way. So if you want to help me on Fable 3's online, feel free to drop me a message, and we'll see what we can do. Can have a nice little whirlwind romance, and you can try and kill my wife as well, because she's pissing me off and I don't know how to do it. But I don't think you can kill your kids either. I think social just takes them off you, which is kind of funny. But yeah, that is pretty much Fable in a nutshell. I do not like that game. I don't understand why anybody likes that game, and if I bought that game brand new, I would feel emotionally and financially raped. It's just so fucking devoid of anything. If anything, it's shorter and smaller and not as filled with anything as the second one was, which is crazy, because how the hell do you step backwards? The only game that stepped backwards like this, only not quite as egregious, is... Well, sorry, this is not quite as egregious as this other game, because The Force Unleashed 2 is possibly the worst sequel I've ever played, ever. That is the equivalent of making Terminator 2 and then releasing Terminator 3. That's how I feel. There you go. But keep making your way through the maze, keep killing dudes. It's all pretty simple, it's all pretty self-explanatory. If you have any problems, feel free to drop a message and hopefully I'll be able to rectify it for you. Please try to refrain from dropping stupid questions though, cause I had to block a dude recently for being a giant retard, and then getting arsey and elitist about his giant retardness, and I don't enjoy doing that, cause I'm all for people saying their opinions and sharing, you know, different points of view, but if you're going to be a douche about it, you can go and suck a dick. But I said I was going to talk about some Ninja Gaiden. I'm going to talk about some Ninja Gaiden. So if you're not interested, mute it and just watch the gameplay. If you are interested in hearing me shit talk, then stay tuned. So in the previous video I mentioned that there was a bunch of purple ninjas with windmill shurikens that attack you as if you'd slept with their wife. There are red ninjas that I assume are fire ninjas, because all the time they set me on fire, and you know, my basic game element knowledge generally means that red means fire or explosive barrel. So if the other dudes thought I'd slept with their wives, these guys think I've slept with their daughter, because they are the worst so far. They are like the IS ninjas off Ninja Gaiden 2. They're really aggressive, they always come in packs of 3, and they take a beating, they hurt a lot, they randomly set you on fire as if you're extremely flammable for no apparent reason, and they're just weird. There's times when they'll show up and I'll do everything I can to fight them and they will cut me down so quick it's almost as if I wasn't playing. There's other times where I'll not feel like I'm doing anything remotely skillful and I will shit on their chest and kill them in seconds. It's really random. And I'm at that point now where I'm not comfortable fighting them. So until I fought them for a while and I've got used to how they act, I kind of go into panic mode. I go into spaz hands mode, you know, where you're just kind of like, oh god, oh god, oh god, and hold your breath, and you don't really do anything skillful. You just kind of bash and die. And anybody that's played this game, bashing buttons is not the way to win. Panicking is not the way to win. You've got to stay calm. You've got to stay composed. You've got to know what you're doing. And I'm not too bad with everything else, but these guys, they show up and it's just like, oh god, I'm gonna die, and I generally do. But now I've got the Izuna drop, I'm a lot safer, because it enables me to do a lovely move that's both cheesy and extremely powerful, so hopefully that's going to make it a lot better. But they're just absolute bastards, and there's a couple checkpoints in Tyrone where they come back, they respawn, and one of them is atrocious because there's a save point where you fight 3 of them that drop down next to the save point. You kill them, you think, oh, that was okay, I'll save now, and if you die, you come back to the save point. As soon as you reload back in the game, 3 of them will drop down and attack you. And these 3 dudes, if they've in the right mindset, they can cause you hell. They can cause you some serious grief. Luckily enough, though, I figured out that there's actually an invisible line that they won't cross. So I found a really cheesy way of attacking them without them being able to attack me. So, like I say, if I do get onto Master Ninja and I do decide to do a playthrough slash, beginner's look guide, I'll definitely have some interesting tricks and tips to show you, but it will by no means be, brilliant in any way, because I'm not that good at these games and I don't have enough time these days to focus on getting really good. And you can do, I've seen it, there's a lot of walkthroughs on YouTube where people do these games on the hardest difficulties without being hit, and you only realise how impressive these walkthroughs are when you play the game. When you play on these difficulties, because when you watch it, they make it look easy. They make it look like the enemies aren't attacking them. They make them look silly. And you think, oh, I can do that. I'll kill these guys in no time. And you come up against the first crowd, and they're sat there picking their teeth with your ribs because they've just took a shit on you and raped your entire family and dropped you in a well and concreted over it and built a brothel on top of your grave because they're just that angry. It's madness. It really is. And it has to be played to be believed, because there's nothing like these games. You go back and you play other games and you're like, oh, yeah, the enemies on this game aren't absolute psychopaths that want to kill me every second of their life. They're actually giving me breathing room to do things. And then you go back to Ninja Gaiden, and yeah, you end up with your skull on somebody's phallic staff. It's just madness. But this is, I believe, one of the last shops in the game, so make sure you buy as much as you can, because you will not be seeing Christopher again. But that is the end of the level. The next few are extremely short, they're just boss fights, and I'll see you in them as we get to the end of this guide. So as per usual, people, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and you take care now.